So hello, I am Miguel, and my channel is Linear Films. It's not Linear Designs because from films I like Photoshop and a lot of other stuff. So I am going to go over the basics of Cinema4D. So let's pop into Cinema4D here, and review all what the hell is this? You got a whole bunch of tools here, a whole bunch of options. But I am not going to go over those. I'm going to go over the basics, and I'm not going to do the basics of the basics and then the basics of those basics. I'm going to show you just how to get in here and make something and render it and animate it and put some color into it and do your own stuff to it, size it, how to do all that simple stuff, so then you can come in here and learn the rest. It's all about experimenting. That's how we learn. So I want to go over first how to put something in here. So here you got your made objects. You got your cube, you got your sphere, which you can't see. Let's delete this cube. You got your sphere. You got your cone. You got your platonic, and I don't know what a platonic is, but you got a whole bunch of stuff here. Then you got this right here, which is basically splines. They're called splines, and what they do is they outline something for you to extrude, which I will go over next. Extrude, boom, here. I'm not sure what that is, but I wanna, it's just, it's like a pen tool in Photoshop. You got different kind of tools. You wanna curve it, do all this stuff to it. Okay, then you can edit the points separately, just like you could in Photoshop. It's very similar. Here is usually, and then you got your hyper nerves, extrude nerves. I'm not going to go over all of those, because usually when people first start getting to Cinema4D, all they use is hyper nerves and extrude nerves. So I'll show you what extrude nerves do. I put in a circle, or this thing right here, and then I got extrude nerve. I put my spline into the extrude nerve, and look at that, I got a nice 3D object over here. A nice I'm not sure what it's called. I forgot. I'm not very good at this. So yeah, you got that. That's how you extrude. I think you extrude the nerves. I'm not sure exactly how else to say it. Then you got these little sort of effect thingies, which I'm not going to go over each one. The only one you really need to use if you're gonna do simple stuff is a null object. And what is a null object? If I got a whole bunch of stuff here, oh, look at that person, and he has a duckies thingy and an oil tank. Okay, and you wanna put all of those into one object. I don't wanna move this. Then I gotta move the figure. No, I just want to move everything. So I shift it, select everything, drag it into the null object, and now I got everything here. Now there's no real need for a null object, but yeah, it's always good to use it so you don't get mixed up and stuff. I don't know how you like to use your stuff, but yeah. Then you got this right here, which is a light, and I'm pretty sure most of you know what a light does. Then you got your spotlight and an infinite light and all this other stuff, and a floor and a sky and a background. I'll show you how to use a light. A light you got here. Then you got your spotlight, your infinite, your area light, and to make shadows, shadow map soft or the hard ones. Then area, I've never used that one, and yeah. So usually everyone puts shadow maps, and it's always good to put a little tint in your lights, so it doesn't look so plain. Then you got your background. So you don't put a cube in here and you render it and it looks like this. You want a background. So you go to materials. I'm just gonna do this myself right now, and I'll tell you later how exactly to put a material. So you load your image. I want this as my background. This is a shitty one. I don't even know why I still have it here. Boom, this is my background. Now when I render it, it has a background, and that's good. So I'm gonna delete these two for now. So that's what all these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 this, and then this is little effects for your things. And I'm pretty sure if I showed you how to use extrude nerves, you gotta always connect things. It's always an hierarchy over here. So if I want to put a cube in, and I told you before, I mean not a cube. I want to put a spline in. Usually everything in Cinema4D works like this. I put a circle and I want to do something to it. Well, this is the something I want to do to it, but it's not working. So I always gotta put the circle into the something I want to do to it, which is very confusing. But here it is. And now I got this. And it's always connected. You gotta connect the objects in order to use them with one another. So same as this, I got my cube and I want to make these effects. There, I put it in, but it's not doing anything. Now usually it's not like before you put the cube into the effect. It's you put the effect into the cube. And now that I got my effect into the cube, I will, use it. Boom, and then I fix my angles, and most of them work like that. But don't be discouraged. You put it in and it's not working. Oh my God. Look around. You got your object, you got your coordinates. Play around with those and see what you can do to make it work for you. It's all about experimenting, like I said before. Then you got this, which I'm not gonna go over because it takes I have to make a lot of stuff for you to actually show what they do. Gravity, wind, those are all little things you use for your objects. This is like physics here. I don't like physics. I don't know why I like this program. So we got all these tools here, which I'm not gonna go over because those are polygon tools, and you can suggest tutorials for those, but I'm not going to go over them because you don't really need them. The ones that you need are already selected for you, and you use them to make everything. These tools over here, okay, so I will go over this. What the hell is this two crosses? This cross is to move something. You wanna move this, Here you got your 3D space, your axis, your y-axis, your c-axis, and your x-axis. Then you got this thing over display right here. Where is it? Over display, this little square is to scale it. You wanna scale it. Yeah, and you use your model tool right here, this thing right here, to scale them individually, horizontally, vertically, the width, woof, this is big, and to zoom out, the scroll wheel, all this stuff. I will go over the views and all of that later on the interface. So boom, we got that. Then this thing is to rotate it. Yes, you can rotate the cubes, and you can also animate with this stuff. I'm rotating and I'm scaling at the same time. Look at that. Because I'm rotating and scaling because I have it's a separate tool this here, my model tool. If I want to just use, I don't want to even touch, I don't want to, why is it scaling every time I touch it? I want to stop that. You go here. Use object axis tool. And then, it's fine. You can still scale, but, it's not, I don't even know what the difference is actually. But all I know is that use object tool, that way you can move it and scale it. I don't even know what the difference is, but I know sometimes the difference does help me because sometimes it is annoying to use the model tool. I don't know what difference there is, but it's okay. You got your model tool and you got your object axis tool. Your object axis tool is to pick the axis, and your model tool is to... Man, what is the difference? Okay, whatever. I'm cutting that out. So, what else? Let's see. Okay, the screen display. We got your screen, right? You got your cube, and yeah, your views. View 1. View 1 is perspective view, where your perspective. I want a perspective view this way, I want to view it this way, okay. You use this little rotating thing here to rotate around 3D space. You use this thing to pan, the first thing right here to pan, and you can also press, I think it was Alt and click to rotate, Control and click to pan it, and there's one more. I can't truly remember it right here. You can pan with this too. Oh, right here it is. Okay, so if you have a little scroll key thingy and you press outside of the object, it gives you all 4 views, which is really handy when modeling because you can see exactly how it is in each view without having to switch back and forth. You want to go back, you want to go into one of the views, you're on the top views, scroll click here, or you can just, click this little thing right here, the last one. Boom, 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 okay. So usually when you model, it's good to have all 4 views. You can also pick like this, view 2, view 3, but why do that when you can just do this and this? Okay, so we go back to the view 1. Okay, so we got my retarded looking cube. It's not a cube anymore. Delete that. And now you want to add color to this because it looks really ugly. So I go to materials, and I got material here. It looks the same color, but not to fear, you have a color thing here, and I want to put it red, and I want to give it a glow. And now my sphere is red and it glows. You can't really see the glow right now though. You can see it a little bit. If I take it off, you'll notice it. I take off the glow, and tell me you don't see a difference. Now it looks so plain and bad because I did not put bumps, and I did not put reflections, and I did not add a reflection and stuff. So that's not really basic. I will tell you how to add a sky. you put a sky and the same as the background. You add what thing you want to be a sky. And usually when you click reflect, it will reflect the sky. So you got your materials here. And to make a material, you double click on this white space, gray space, double click that, then you double click this and you add whatever you want to add. And you can adjust the brightness of the color. You can adjust how much, it's not really brightness, just how much you want it to show. You can add a texture, your bump map. This is what your bump map does. I want a bump, I want some textures on my, I'm gonna put this really ugly texture because it's the first one I saw. And I want the strength to be, it doesn't go to 100, I was like, can I make it more? And yes, you can. I want a 200, or I want a 500, which looks really ugly. You shouldn't do that. You see that I got my bumps, which I cannot see right now because it is not applied, stupid me. So you drag it into the sphere, and now it is applied. Look at that. Looks pretty rough and ugly. I don't like it. Maybe you like it. I don't like it. So yeah. You can always, blur out the bumps as well. Your blur offset, which usually will take a little longer to render because of the blurriness. To delete it, you just delete it. And also, if you want to copy a material, you don't want to keep dragging it, you control click this material and keep dragging it here. Okay, so that's are the basics of the materials. I'm not gonna go over each one. I will just go over the ones I usually like to use. Reflection, like I said, you add a reflection, you add a texture, or you could put it in the sky, and every object will reflect. Every object that has reflection ticked will reflect what's on the sky. So we got that covered. What else? You got it. Now you want to render it. How do I render it? Well, you got 3 rendering options here. The first one from the left is a quick preview, and it looks ugly, but it's okay. And the second one is to actually render it. To actually render and save it. But to actually render and save it, you need somewhere to render it and save it to. So you got your save folder right here. You got your general output, save, multipass, object options, object glow. Usually the your basic user will only use output and save. Sometimes your options, but options I'm not going to go into details, usually to decrease your render time or increase it, but I don't think anyone wants to increase it. So here's your save. And then you got your file. You want to save it onto my desktop as a test, and a QuickTime movie or an AVI movie or a PNG. Which one do I use? I usually use QuickTime and JPEG or PNG. PNG, I'm not sure if I'm sure most people know this, but PNG is no background with an alpha channel, which I won't go into right now. JPEG is your whole scene, and QuickTime movie is for animations, or an AVI is as well, but I prefer QuickTime. So I go into my output, 320. I don't want that. I want 1280 by 720. And my frames right here, this little frame right here. This is from frame 0 to frame 0. This is my current frame. So if I click render, I'm only rendering this. Just I want to override it, I don't care. So I only render that part. But if I want to render, oh my gosh, Jesus. No, okay, so if I want to render from 0 to 10, okay, we'll render from 0 to 10. But why would I do that if it's still just, I need to make an animation. So let's go to the 10th frame. I'll show you how to make an animation. I got this, right? And you want to always make sure you got your auto keyframe, which is right here in the middle, right here. You kick that auto keyframe. Now, the auto keyframe, what it does is whatever movement you do or whatever options you change, absolutely whatever things, it will mark it down. So very important. As soon as you finish your animation and you want to see how another animation would look or how another placement would look, you want to make sure you untick your auto keyframe, because what this does is not that it leaves all the keyframes laid out. So you got I got 20 million, not 20 million, but I got a lot of objects, and I start moving them around with my auto keyframe thing on. I'm gonna have to go through each keyframe separately, to each object, look at its keyframes to see what was the one I messed up. Example, here's my cube, and I want to add a light. It's always good to add a light to your things to give it some more realistic. Right now, it won't make a difference because I don't have a floor or a background, so it's just in dark space, which is why everything else looks dark except where the light is. I put the light over here. Let's put it in the front. You know, let's put it in the front right here so it shines a bit more. And we got this. Then I want to make animated. I want to put the cube from here. You know, auto keyframe that from here, the cube from here, and to the 10th frame, which is all we're gonna render. I want it to move to the left like this. You know, or up, or whatever. You know, I don't know what you want to make it do, but I want to size it up and move it here. So now it will size up and move that way. So I'm done that. I want to untick it. Make sure you untick it. So here you see these two keyframes, these two little blue things right here. Then if I go into light, they're not there anymore. That's what I meant. It keyframes each object separately. So if you mess up and you have a lot of objects, you're gonna have to go through each one and delete every one, which is a pain, especially if you got 200, 300 frames, a big animation. So yeah, always make sure of that. So I got my animation. I want to render it, right? Make sure you wanna go 1280, yes. From 0 to 10, yes. My save, my test, QuickTime Movie, yes. And I click this middle button, render it, yes. I want to overwrite it, and it renders each square separately. It's done. It's done. I close it. I go here. Let's put the test. Why is it taking so long to open? Open you. Okay, thank you. And boom! Look at that. There's my animation. Now, you learn how to render. You learn how to make an object. But what you haven't learned is how to make a text, right? Yes, I just reminded myself. So here's your text. You go into the little spline objects. You make a text. I have two texts. Okay, whatever. So I have one text. How do I edit that text? Click on the text. To edit anything here on the objects, you edit, you click on them, and you have all of this stuff, object stuff, you text. Miguel is hot with an exclamation mark. I want to edit the font. Yes, I want to edit the font. Yeah, there's no need to, but I want to. So I want to make it something nice and ugly, like something ugly. Yes, Calibri, because I like ugly, because it contrasts with my hotness. You see here? Miguel is hot. So Miguel is hot. Then I put. Then, you know, you want to make it 3D. How did I show you before? You have a circle. You go your extrude. Why isn't it doing anything? You gotta put the object that you want it to do something into what actually is gonna make it do something. Your extrude NURBS. So now your text is part of the extrude NURBS. How to make it bigger? You know, I change my view over here so I can make it. You go into this third one. It's your movement. 1, 2, 3. Your last one. You size it up. I don't like using those. I like typing it in. I want to make it 40. Now let's make it really wide, like 80. Yeah, it looks hot, like me. So there we go. Miguel is hot. And you want to preview it. That looks really ugly because it has no color. So like I said, let's make a color. Yeah. I got my little reflection over here. You know, let's put a reflection texture. It's gonna be Toronto. My reflection right here. And I got my color. Now my reflection, I don't want it to be too much. I'm gonna put like 18, or maybe even, you know, yeah, A16. No, my color has to be good, but my texture, my mix strength, my mix strength has to be so my brightness. Put it down. My reflection brightness. My color is gonna go up a lot, and give it a glow. And I drag it in there. It's probably gonna look ugly, but who cares? And boom, look at that. You see the reflections of Toronto in there? Let me put that a little bit right here. You see that? Here's my reflections and my glowiness. And Miguel is hot, so that's why it's red, fiery red, hot. Right there we go. Boom. And you wanna add your light. Here's my light. And I got my light. And let's add a shadow map soft, because I like softness. Soft. I'm gonna render it. I'm gonna render it. No. Quick preview, and there it is, my text, 3D, and everything. And also what people like doing, or what I like doing, is adding caps. A fillet cap to make it look nice and curvy, and a nice sort of a bevel edge. If you can see that little edge right here, it's like a bevel edge. You know, it looks nice. And you can edit the steps. The steps are how much. Let me show you an example. Right here. So that's my radius of the bevel, which looks really ugly. Too much, but just to show you. And then I got my steps. So my steps is, you know, you'll see them, and they're actually like steps. You see, all these here. I can show you somewhere clear. Yeah, let me take off my material so I can show you more clear. Here we go. So this is working well for me. So this is just lower the radius a little bit. So if you can see, you see all those little lines right here. My steps. You see, the more steps I have, the more So here is a very simple one step. Add 3 steps. Makes you see those little lines right there? Those lines right there? I'm not sure if they're really notable right now. But those lines right there are my steps. Let's see if I can make this easier. I'm not sure to make this easier for you guys. But I got a lot of steps here. And it's always good to just add a one step because it looks cleaner, you know. Well, why is it like that? Because I have a fillet and I want to cap it. Fillet cap. So there we go. And that's how you make out simple text. And how to get the shadow and everything. It's not really a basic. If you want something for that, you know, if you want a request tutorial for anything else that I didn't cover, which I'm pretty sure I covered anything that you need to know to get in here, make something 3D, render it out, put a background in it, and that's it. So thank you for watching. It's my first tutorial. If you have any requests for anything else that I didn't cover, I will make some for After Effects and Photoshop as well. Thank you very much. Bye.